Thanks for staying with us. The federal government has threatened to expel students in senior secondary school classes 1 and 2 who apply for and sit for the external West African Senior School Certificate Examination, or the National Examination Council, NECO, and National Business and Technical Examinations, MBTE. According to them, senior secondary school 1 and 2 who participate in the examinations are distracted from achieving their goals. What are your thoughts on this? Join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. So I remember in my time, we had these students who their parents made to write the examinations, the external examinations in SS1 and SS2. And I know the pride that they used to come inside class when they are finished, especially those of them that eventually pass, you know. So I know that they have this way of, I don't even need these classes anymore. I will shun classes. I don't even need to pay attention anymore. And some of them challenge their teachers. And we're not given the opportunity to write these exams. We always feel like, what do we do now? You know, so I understand the sort of distractions that happen, especially with children who see themselves as, I'm already bigger than this. I'm just here now for a few months and I'm out of here. And I may not even continue the school. But is expelling them the way forward?
That's what I think it's not serious like that. Never reach like that. You know, there are several ways to raise a child beyond books. Morals, you know, humility, key values that we also learned from school. I just made a joke of Mrs. Sekobe, VP at the time, that, you know, some things that we learned from her while in school. But I was one of those students who wrote WAEC in SS2.
Okay. And you passed? And how was
your disposition? I did not pass all my subjects. But the subjects I needed to study law, I aced them. Okay. And I remember my father saying, just go and try, because me, I don't even know. I'm such a playful girl. If you don't catch me climbing tree, plucking something, you know, everybody worried around me. And maths was such a poor subject for me. So he wanted me to see how serious it would be in exams. And I remember once I had my 6 papers for, I was like, these are what I need for law now. He says, not in my house. You see that maths that you fail there, if you fail it in your WAEC. So the work was double. I improved on the mistakes I made in my GC at the time. I remember when I was writing my WAEC, my focus was on those 3 subjects that I didn't do well in the GC. It was,
so I was like, it up.
Because I know these ones are subjects that off the edge, I had this good retentive memory. It would work, but the subjects that needed application,
it was a
my
problem.
Biology, my maths, come and see me at the exams. Struggling, it was work. Because I knew I'd seen the questions in the previous exam I did, and I didn't do well. I didn't look at the question and the answer just came. Unlike with other subjects, I just looked at the question and said,
you know the answer.
And I worked at it. And when I made it, I felt the reward was to come, and the reward included retouching my hair,
using lip gloss,
and you know, promoting to a certain level. And I loved it. I don't think that the problem is with the exam. No.
Okay.
I think the problem clearly is with parenting and why parents think they should do it. Right now, my daughter is in primary 4, and I'm already considering common entrance. Reason is because she's like me, plucking trees, climbing, everything, playing. So I want her to see the seriousness of exams early. Okay. And, you know, maybe that will prepare her for next year or the year.
You shouldn't be faulted for that.
But it is a standard in my house, that just like in my parents' house, that she will complete her primary classes and should complete whatever it takes to complete secondary school classes. But that does not stop her from taking any exam. Okay. So it's parenting.
Okay, that's awesome. Miriam.
I don't have a problem with children writing these exams before they're meant to write it, before they get to the class where they are supposed to write them. Because, as you said, it's good practice. My child, who's in primary 6 now, wrote common entrance examinations for primary 5. And I did it with the teacher because he was so playful. He thought, you know, he had seen it all. I'm smart. I know what I'm saying. I know everything. So the teacher and I sat down. She says, let's pick the most difficult schools
For him?
Yes, for him. And then he wrote there, he was humbled. He came home, he was crying, he said, Mommy, I'm not ready. That was what I was trying to teach my child. And that's what a lot of parents are also trying to teach them. It's not also about just teaching them humility. It's also for them to understand how much work they would need to put in. Sometimes it's even important because when that major exam comes, if you've never come across it before, you get scared, all sorts of jitters. But if you've tried them a few times before, when you get in there for the final one, when it's your time to write it, those jitters, you know, you don't have them and you're able to concentrate on doing the work and passing the exams. And for some of us, it was even just the externals we wrote. So it was, you know, it was not as if you had to sit down with your own schoolmates. It was externals where everybody could write it. And I don't think there's any problem with it. I think it's a good thing to do to prepare children for what they need to do. Now, handling it by saying you expel children because they are pompous, it just shows to me that you have decided that you are not in the business of training children to be well-rounded. You have a child who has done something that's not bad, but there's an offshoot of overconfidence. You don't punish overconfidence, or you don't teach overconfidence by expelling a child. The child did not commit a crime. The child just needs to be taught how to be humble, understand. So what I would do if I was in their cases, I'll put them in a special class. Let's see how intelligent you think you are. We'll give you tough subject. We'll give you tough aspects of the subjects. We'll give you even much more homework, and then let's see.
Do they have the time for that?
That's it. So that is where I was going to. It's lazy, as we call it, lazy teaching. You are thinking, how do we do it in such a way that we don't stress ourselves too much? Let's just throw them out of school. It makes no sense.
I went to command, and those who were in my set, they will remember this. So there was this WAEC writing wahala for people in SS2 at the time, the year before mine. And so the school created what they called their own mock. It was called...
Mock exams, yeah.
Yes, our NAEC.
Yeah.
It was a national for all military schools. And the national one, when it comes, is harder than the normal WAEC you're supposed to write. So that the products that comes out from our sets are always... And the school used to be proud of those knowledge and discipline, our products are this and that. But it was the work. So when you're writing the NAEC and you're supposed to be a GC candidate who had already done it before, what they do for you is that you write your exams on the field. In the open air, the spacing. Your enemy
you can't even stretch neck.
Your enemy said that's closest to you is a friend at that moment. And they used to do it so that when WAEC board comes to school, when we're writing WAEC, they're proud of, even when they're sitting together, of how comported the children were. I remember that 98 set people, their exam. We were looking at them that, God forbid, this was our fate. But the truth is that parents abuse this. Some parents do it and then they come around because parents like to boast. Parents who have conversations and it's their children's achievements in school that is conversation for pepebele, for friends. Force their kids to write the WAEC for the show-off. They don't bother about the child's maturity. But so you have to separate, because if you say you must punish all, because of such parents, you defeat the purpose for other parents who genuinely have kids that they need to worry about.
Okay, Nima, let me even ask you this question. So I know that when we were growing up, we're still a lot better than the crop of children we are raising right now in terms of, we were mostly scared to even challenge the status quo or challenge our parents or our teachers. But the children of these days will look at you in the face and ask you why. So let's take, for instance, that the federal government have, through observation and investigation, found out that those students who go out to write those external exams come to school and they're not paying attention anymore. They are distracting people who have not even done the examinations. And they decided to, okay, let's find a way to take these people out of school, advise them not to do these external exams. Is that wrong? Well, because they're trying to protect other children who have not.
Exactly. You're right. So this is a conversation you'll be having with the parents of your children and also parents of those who are prospective, exam candidates, where you say, these are some of the things we've noticed with previous students. Are you sure you want to do this? Because it may be counterproductive, where you're hoping that your child would understand how much is in front of them and how much they need to study. There's also the flip side where the child feels quite confident or overconfident and is refusing to pay attention because they feel they've done it and they have passed it.
And disrupt other children.
And then now it's left to the parents to decide if they want to do it. About disrupting the other children, excuse me, please. Do they take the pens off the children? Do they stop them from reading? They are just going about boasting, being a boastful child.
Pressure.
No, but do we throw children out for peer pressure? Do we throw them out because somebody has done better than us, making me feel pressured and I don't feel up to that person? No, you teach the other ones who we're hoping that this will also teach the other children that when you meet situations like that, it should push you to do better. Like, okay, so this guy knows how did it and passed it. Please, guy, what did you do? That is how you build well-rounded individuals. They are going to go out into the real world. They are going to meet pressure. They are going to meet colleagues that are doing better than you. Should we now sack people who are doing better than us because it's making us feel pressured? No. Instead, you find different ways to collaborate. You find teachers then when some children were doing better than others. Okay, guys, reading circles, reading groups. You put them as leaders. The head of this and make sure that, we need to be creative. We cannot just be throwing people around and be punishing everything and everyone just because it's not convenient.
Schools should also make it a well-rounded reward system where if someone is not an academic, it's a skill. Teach other things that you can celebrate children about so that it's not a competition of who knows what. I remember back in school, we had that competition. Amongst even siblings. I remember my WAEC, the best of our math sets, the people we looked up to for maths were surprised that some of us, the Olodos, made maths. Yes, it was true because I remember the WAEC had taken a few days to release my maths result. And when it finally came and I made it, I was like,
you didn't believe yourself.
How did I even make it to this point? Because the slowest would have just been okay. I was really poor. I didn't know the formulas. I had a book from my WAEC GCE. I wrote a dictionary of formulas. And 2 days to exam, somebody stole it. Imagine the madness. I went into, I was like, I can never pass this exam.
You should have studied before.
Because I used to carry it around. Every math you give me, I refer quickly. And I didn't know that I'd done my reading until the exams. So sometimes it is not about that best student. You don't know the work another person had to put in. I know the work I put in. I know how many of those I was called. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I used to appreciate it. Thank you for calling me. I want to prove all of you wrong. I put in the work. So if you now come and say you want to punish or you want to reward, you defeat the purpose. For me, for instance, I remember my daughter would come home and she too had this competitive mentality right from primary 2. Can you imagine? I had to sit her down, auntie, you're very good at this and this and this, and I'm appreciative of it. You're talking to your child, and you're saying, look, these are your areas of weakness. This is what I want to do as a parent, hands-on to do something about it. And the school system now makes it impossible. No, now. We should have a proper PCA meeting where these are addressed. So the parents who are not raising proper children should be shamed instead of the children who are
being expelled.
The parents who should be shamed, those whose children are coming up or they are raising them to go and show off results should be shamed because the larger world is still a tougher world out there.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll take phone calls and messages. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So let's talk about the fact that a lot of parents want the best for their children. And because of the way the system is, there are certain jobs that when you graduate late for, there's a cap on it. You are not able to get that job. And so you see the pressure on parents trying to push their children to write examinations, get into the university at the age of 14 or 13. How does that affect the overall child at the end of the day?
This should be the concerns of the government since they are looking into whether they should even write GC in the first place. They created this system. They and the silence around ages of employment, all those things that happen during recruitment created this problem. I can't be in the labor market and see what is obtaining and not protect my child against it.
Exactly.
That's what most parents are doing. So except you have the means to create your own employment for your child, you want to beat the system. So parents want to get their child to write WAEC at 16, get into a private university, graduate at 21, and so they can say, my child qualifies no matter what. Even some will beat the child or, try to, circumvent the system to get a first class because jobs are looking for 2-1
Yes, of course.
So they're doing everything. Nigerians are now in that place where we're managing this and managing that. If the concern of government is an all-round, well-grounded child, if it is the concern of government, we take out all these worries and parents will let the child do the system. I remember then, when we were in school, people were made to repeat classes by their parents. Parents will say, if you are supposed to repeat, what is stopping you?
I repeated, though.
So repeat your class, it will make you a better person.
Yeah.
But some parents will now get to the ages of getting admission and see the struggle that the child is using to get admission. The child has made an exam, but the cutoff of schools in our time was, not be this one that did
very high,
was pushing you back home. You spend a full session,
high.
You write again, you write again, you write again for the courses that you wanted. And they didn't appreciate the way government was lax on it. It was a revenue drive for JAM, and the JAM was never concerned about whether the child was a well-rounded child at the end of the day.
Let me take this call from Hassan. Hassan from Lekki. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Please, this is a national issue and educational matter. And we should stop being subjective. I listened to the two people, Maria and Nima.
Hello, are you there? We lost him.
I really wanted to hear
what he had to say.
But usually when Hassan calls, he always talks about being sentimental and things like that. So I sort of guess, well, but let me not guess. Hope he calls back. See, I understand. Okay, first of all, I want to say well done to parents who think about making sure a child is a certain age and can get into a certain job. Just listening to that makes me feel like a bad parent because I don't think that.
You don't think that way, right?
I don't think that way. What I think is that I want to build and raise a child that would be able to thrive, survive,
irrespective
of whatever define themselves. I don't know if I'm not like those parents who feel so sure of the future like that, that I can determine year in, month in, what will happen. You know, so I just want to, because I know how it was raising me now, all the dreams that we had, and some things fell by the wayside, and some things worked that we were not looking at. But what was important is that this child, wherever they find themselves, they'll be able to survive, and then they will thrive. And so that's what I would prefer parents should concentrate on, that you're trying to bring up a child that, you know, we had parents who never believed their children would even go abroad, and then one day they write an examination, they get a scholarship and they go abroad. And because it's not only about the passing the work, it's also about their maturity. I've seen children who, while they were in school with their classmates, they were not doing well, then they repeated the class. Then they started excelling because right now they had gotten, they were now mature
to handle.
And now, you know, in their class now, they were in their right class and doing the right thing for their own age and for their level of maturity.
Let me take this call from Favor. Good morning, Favor from Warri.
Good morning, beautiful ladies of your view. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'd like to, air my view on your first topic. It's
Go ahead.
Very one, but it says that the federal government, I don't think they have actually looked into this situation very well because, our children, just like you said, that the way we were tutored is not the way we are now. So if you don't follow up your child, I had a child when my child was in transport. I made him someone in transport. The play was too much, We didn't have the exam, but if he said 1 meeting, federal government is a child that. So by the time he got to 76 and he wrote it, he passed this excellently well. So that made him to be responsible. You understand? So I didn't know what was cooking in there. And that he fell SS2, SS1, and I said, find out that we are going to make life easier for these people, even for us. Because we don't know when these people get to SS2. They are played and played, and but once they experience it in a performance, they will be able to speak to, excellently. You don't have to wait money and they start repeating. You know how many times a lot of us wrote WAEC or SC. You will hear people say, I wrote it 5 times, I wrote it 6. So it's not like this because parents try to do the need to, because our parents, they didn't do that time that many of our markets all that.
Thank you, Favor. Thank you, Favor. It's a bit muffled, so I didn't get everything. But we have another caller, Jeffrey from Jibo. Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the first time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Contribute to what President said. It's not about saying that they will expel the students. Who are they expelling? Most of, okay, let me use myself as an example. I think SS2 or thereabouts, I wrote GC. Unknowingly for me, when I go to my center, I met my class. We met at the center in the same hall. We were like, how manage now? You need to tell me that you're going to write. That was how it all started. And from there, we got at the end of the result, made it wasn't even made known in school. Nobody knew about it. It's not about you expelling them. We are the ones in this same Nigeria. Now, figures have been coming out from, I think you said that children out of school. You expelling them. Are you not adding to the problem on ground? At the end, you say they are Amajuris. Why would there be Amajuris? When we ourselves, we are the problem of ourselves. Are we going to say that these so-called leaders, they don't have sense or what? Whereas their children, they're not in Nigeria. They kept them, they are in abroad. Before you know it, they've graduated young people. So what are they saying? Let them look for solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're wrapping up. You have a message?
Okay, Father Kemisola says, here, kids are allowed to write PSAT and before SAT, just for prepping purposes. Emmanuel says, FG policies are always oppressive. If a child's capacity can cope with higher grade exams, why bar him or her from partaking? And the system are the ones benchmarking employment eligibilities with age clueless. Daisy says all the schools need to work on changing the system to accommodate all students academically. The others made a joke. Okay, Olamide Adela says parenting is an English word, meaning those who worry about a lot.
So what I hear, you say is the fact that our parents need a lot of reorientation on how they handle these children and how they prepare them for life irrespective of what happens, just like you rightly said. And also government needs to find creative ways to handle issues like this. That's all we can take on this segment. The show continues after this break. Stay with us.